Welcome to Wine Library TV. I am your host, Gary Vaynerchuk, and this is The Thunder Show, aka WLTV, and I am thrilled to be here one day to the Conan O'Brien Show, and it is really darn exciting. You know what else is exciting? Markets. I'm a big business kid, lemonade stand and car wash. I like to see markets change, and boy, did the Merlot market change. Let me give you a little example. When I first got into wine, Merlot was climbing the ladders, moving up the chain, and it was really quite exciting to watch. Everybody got into it. It was a fad. It was a craze. Let's call it something similar to Wine Library TV. And then surely and quickly, Hollywood crashed it down. Ironically, that's what could happen to me tomorrow night on Conan, crash me down. Anyway, it did. And the prices and the sales of Merlot in America came to a complete halt after Sideways. Pinot Noir on the rise, Merlot going down. And Merlot wasn't nice to people on the way up the ladder, unlike me. And so on the way down, people were kicking it and happy it was there. And so now we are in a very interesting spot. But I'm interested to see what Merlot's doing. I'm interested in bringing Merlot back. I'm interested in seeing if the hype is warranted, that the wines are not that good and not that interesting. And so we've got 4 wines today, 1 from Italy, 3 from California, Merlot-based wines. We didn't do any Saint Emilion or Pomerols. We thought we'd keep it into the tune of the area where we're focusing on. And we've got some interesting wines. I'm very curious. These are the 4 top-selling Merlot wines in their categories at Wine Library. And that's how I ran the report. No emotion, people. We just picked the wines that we have the people are been buying and people have been interested in buying. And so that's what we're doing. Before we start the show tasting, I want to give a big shout out and condolences to the Bill Walsh's family. What a legendary football coach. The first football game I ever watched was the 49ers versus the Cowboys, and they won, the 49ers, in that Dwight Clark game. I mean, what a legendary game to start your football watching career. He was a big-time coach and a legend in the NFL, and you know how much of a Jets fan I am, so I want to send along my love and our thoughts and prayers are with his family. He was a good dude from all accounts. And so that's that. So let's get right into it. We're going to start with Philesco 2005 Umbria Merlot. This wine is 90 points, Robert Parker, and $11 US. So on paper, an absolutely tremendous opportunity. The winemaker, Riccardo Cortarella, is considered widely one of the premier winemakers in all of Italy. Today, in honor of the big show that we're going on, I bought the big ass glass to the set, and I'm excited about having it on. And we're going to give it a coat. I mean, this is a big glass. This is a big glass. We have a lot of fun with that. And let's pour ourselves a little vino and see what's going on. I mean, on paper, this is one of the more exciting wines that we've put on WLTV in a long time. 11 bones and 90 points Parker. Let's get right into it. Sniffy sniff time. Very dark chocolate is coming through, which I like quite a bit. A little licorice coming through as well. I'm getting a little hint of barnyard action going on as well, which actually I like. Kudos on that. Nose is pretty good. You know what I think about aromatics? If you're watching this for the first time, the nose is completely underrated. People are not smelling the wines. It's such an exceptional part of the process, and I desperately hope that you continue to sniff your wines harder than you ever have before, because if you're not, you're missing out on a key component, a major factor in the wine drinking process. Let's give it a taste. I've been one of the people that has consistently screamed and yelled and hollered and was angry about these Philesco Merlots getting such good scores from Parker over the last 4 or 5 vintages. Always seeing them score between 90 and 92 points for the Merlot, and always finding myself completely dumbfounded, shocked, and lack of anything else, appalled at the scoring that Parker would give these wines, always thinking they were more in the mid-80s in quality, sometimes in the low 80s, heck, sometimes in the high 70s. But I gotta tell you, this is probably the best effort of this wine that I've had in a very long time. A handful or two, 6, 7 vintages, I have not seen the brightness and the expression of fruit. And what's different about this wine is it tastes less fake, and it's got more trueness. It really has a sense of umbria. I get a little bit of a minty, leafy, green flavor, if you can go with me on that, mixed in with some black cherry. I really like this wine. It's a nice little wine. I don't think it's 90 points. I think Parker continues to get a little too excited about these wines. But this is an 88-point Merlot. Extremely good entry level. And for 11 bones, an absolute buy. This is a good bottle of wine. What's that? Are you serious? Excuse me. Folks, we are shockingly excited and enthusiastically ready to tell you that Conan O'Brien is here live via satellite with us, with Wine Library TV now, and I am just completely shocked. And Conan, I just have to thank you so much. Welcome to Wine Library TV. Thank you for coming on for a few minutes. I know you're so busy.
Well, thanks for having me, Gary. Gotta tell you, I don't know if you know this, I do consider myself something of a Vaniac, and I try and catch your show at least once a year.
Conan, before we go anywhere else, I've got to flat out ask you, I saw your wonderful footage of Napa Valley. It looked like you had a wonderful time. Do you consider yourself a fan of Napa Valley wines?
I consider myself a fan of 90-plus point wines. That's my favorite region.
Conan, that is a horrible response. That is absolutely, positively nothing. Completely opposite of the Vayner Nation and the Vaniac movement. I've got to tell you, Conan, I think you're a wine snob, and hopefully I can come on tomorrow and change your mind, but that's a snobby goddarn answer.
I'm about as far from a wine... It's got to be the hair. It's the hair.
Yeah, well, it might be the hair. I kind of understand. Sometimes my hair has a lot of things. Listen, Conan, I really appreciate. I know you're super busy. I noticed you got Andy Samberg on tonight. I'm a big fan. Ironically, he also started from the internet, Mr. Mott and the Vaniacs. Listen, if you have one last thing to say to the Vayner Nation, to all the Vaniacs watching, what would it be?
Yeah, a final note to the Vayner Nation. I would say you could spend your time watching this hack on Wine Library TV, or you could tune into some real television and watch Conan O'Brien on NBC. Check us out. We're on every night, except for the weekends.
Conan O'Brien, everybody. Conan O'Brien. Appreciate it. Anyway, back to the show. That was unbelievable. Dick Vermeil, now Conan O'Brien. I mean, we are just super, super lucky. Let's give this a little bit of a rinsey rinse and get back in the show. I'm a little starstruck. I'm not sure if I can get refocused, but, we'll try. What we have here for you is the Chateau Souverain 2004 Merlot from Alexander Valley. Ed Killian is the winemaker. This is $14 US. And this is a really good producer. They've done a lot of good things for a long time, and I have a lot of respect for Chateau Souverain. Excited about trying their 2004 Merlot. Still a little shaken. Conan made an appearance. I mean, being on his show is a big enough deal, but him on us, it's huge. Let's give it a little bit of a sniffy sniff. Now this nose is coming across a little bit awkward. I'm not super excited. It smells a little bit like a wet fur ball. It's not corked or anything like that. I know everybody likes to get into that, but it does have like a wet dog that stepped in poop kind of aspect, but the poop is kind of subtle, so it's not even the exciting burgundy poop. It's really not pleasant, a little off, not off, it's just not interesting. There's a little bit of a plum aspect coming on in this wine, but not super on the nose. Let's give it a whirl. The key to this episode and why I'm so focused on bringing Merlot back is, one, yes, I like Justin Timberlake, and he's got sexy. I'll take Merlot. He's a lot cooler than I am. But two, if WLTV is nothing, WLTV is nothing. It's a show that I'm desperately trying to make sure that people realize what wine is, which is individual taste. I want desperately for people to realize that not me, not Parker, not Spectator, nobody should impose their will or taste buds on any other individual. And I feel that Hollywood did that in a huge way with Sideways. I'm just blaming Hollywood, I don't know why, but Payne or Giamatti or whoever the heck you want to blame really did that. And Merlot sales dropped drastically. And here's a perfect example. The first Merlot was eloquent, excellent, and and the second Merlot is a disaster. And but that shouldn't say that all are one way or all the other way. And most importantly, if you're drinking wine, getting into wine, I know so many people that are watching the show just getting into wine, try as many different things as possible. No preconceived notions. Try different things. You find things you like, you can drink them. But try different things and trust your palate, not mine. Please don't trust mine. These are my personal tastes. And my personal taste says on the Chateau Souverain that I'm going to give this wine a major Paz with 13 Z's, because this is the kind of wine that makes me depressed. Duh, and then pressed. And not like the grapes pressed, but pressed like depressed. Because this is the kind of wine that tastes artificial, not true. This tastes like high C fruit juice. It's not even that good. It's not a fruit bomb like some of the Australian wines. It's very average, below average. I'm going to score this wine 74 points. This is not doing anything for me. The only reason it's not 73 points is because number 74 is Nick Mangold, the great center of your and my New York Jets, so I got to give him a big shout out. But it probably deserves a 73, which is legendary Joe Klecko's number. But that's another story for another day. This is not the wine for you. Please avoid this like the Black Plague. Let's move on. Charles Creek Pasatiempo Merlot from San Giacomo Vineyard, Sonoma County, Carneros, 14.5% alcohol content, $26 US. And this is a very interesting producer. I was stunned to see the top seller in the $20 to $30 range, mainly because I have no idea anything about this wine, or really very little about the producer. I do know a little bit about him. I've been a fan of some of their wines, but this is definitely an under-the-radar producer. And $26 is a hefty price for Merlot these days. Not a lot of people getting away with that price point, so I'm super excited to see what's going on with this wine. It has a very big nose. This is very, very big. It's got some tremendous color, a little bit more towards like the Australian Shirazes. This has got some tremendous, and of course that was for the Vaniacs that are no longer with us, because the show, you get really into it, and then it's like anything else, you kind of walk away from it eventually, but hopefully people will come back, like Mrs. Mott. I know that she's not on the bandwagon every day, he ratted you out. Anyway, let's give this a whirl. Tremendous nose. I mean, this is a huge, explosive vanilla concentrate, getting some real nice dark black cherries, chocolate-covered cherries, which so many people adore, are singing on the nose. I mean, just singing, bouncing off my nose hairs, Mott. They're just singing all the way through. It's tremendous. I'm really excited about the nose. It does get a little fake and artificial, but it's so seductive. You're like, fine. I mean, you're just falling for it. It's just like your pretty eyes and beautiful, and you're just fine. But not, of course, me, because I'm married. But, let's give it a whirl. This is a monster of a Merlot. Does it get New World? Absolutely. Should the Old World fans close their ears and close their eyes? Yes, you should, Old World fans. Come on, you had the Pinot Noir episode the other day, the Burgundy. This is a kind of wine that can get people into wine. If you know somebody who's, struggling with wondering if, different qualities of wine, this is really exceptional. It's got the class and explosiveness of a classic Pomerol, but the fruit and the brightness of an Australian Shiraz, really. Though it's Merlot flavors, it doesn't have a Syrah-based flavor profile, but it's got, blackcurrant, really nice green asparagus tip flavors dancing throughout the mid-palate, which I find extremely intriguing, and I just adore when you go with sour cherry, black cherries and chocolate covered in that, and then you throw in some asparagus tips. If you really knew me and understood what I like, I really go from dessert to meal, back to dessert, back to meal. I'm all the pickles, then ice cream, then back to the main course meat, then back to like strawberry. I'm all over the place. And that's why wines like this completely inspire and excite me. This is my style, maybe not yours, but undoubtedly nobody can pee on the quality of this wine. This is an absolutely well-structured, complete, extremely well-made, silky bomb of a wine, good for Merlot, showing this kind of versatility, getting bigger than most people think it could, and though it gets a little Frankenstein for the things that I say about Molly Duker, I don't want to be a hypocrite. It does get big. There is big fruit here, but this is a good wine. This has more balance than a lot of those Molly Dukers and other wines like this. There are some vegetable aspect components going through in this wine. I've been blabbering about this wine way too long. Let's score it up 91 plus points, and definitely a wine worth seeking out. You're going to have to probably go to Cali. This is a small producer, but very, very good. Let me give you one little more sip. There you go. It's good, right? I hear you. Let's move on. Behringer, 2002, Bancroft Ranch Vineyards Merlot Single Vineyard Reserve, 92 points Steven Tanzer, $56 US. Hate that number 56 because being a New Yorker, I'd be remiss not to mention Lawrence Taylor, LT, number 56. There you go, Giant fans. I'll throw you a bone. He was a nice player. He's no Jeff Logan. Anyway, so this is legendary in the fact that over the last 10 to 15 years, this has been one of the premier, along with the Matanzas Creek Journey and the Paulmeyer and a couple of other producers. This has been the premier Merlot coming out of California. I mean, $56 is expensive. We can get top-notch 2000, 2003 Bordeauxs from Pomerol, Saint-Emilion, Merlot-based wines that are going to be, pedigree-wise, some people would think considered better. So this is a risky price point for Behringer, but they've been able to pull it off many, many times. So I'm excited about trying this wine. It's a very interesting single vineyard. The color is nice. It's very nice. Let's give it a sniffy sniff. There's a creaminess to this wine on the nose, which I like quite a bit. I'm also getting a little bit of a leather and a venison aspect. So it's almost like the saddle that you would put on a deer, ride the deer around, take it off, scoop some buttered ice cream style, like really creamy custard, slap it on that saddle, and then give it a good lick. That's what this smells like. Let's see how it tastes. Wow. Oh, that's right, fans. He's back, and he's pissed. The Oak Monster. You know that guy, our favorite little character, the Oak Monster. You know what? Let's link up his t-shirt so all the new Vaniacs know what we're talking about. Scroll down, click the Oak Monster. The Oak Monster is back in the house, living severely in the Behringer Private Reserve, Bancroft River Reserve, Merlot. I can't even talk because the Oak Monster is still attacking my palate. I was trying to rip off a piece of my tongue. The Oak Monster is scary. Now, let me just say one thing about the Oak Monster, because I do bring him out, and I do kind of frown upon his existence many times. However, I've gotten a couple emails, and for a long time myself, the Oak Monster and I did hold hand in hand, walking on hills, picnic time. Would I pull a dandelion and give it to the Oak Monster? I sure would. We were very romantically involved because I adored the Oak Monster. However, like any relationship, we've kind of moved on and we've gone our certain ways, and we are really gone our certain ways, because at this point I kind of pee on the Oak Monster and the movement of the Oak Monsters, because I do believe the wines get completely clouded. You don't get to taste the essence of the fruit, and this wine has an enormous, a shocking amount of oak on it. I'm completely blown away. It almost made me choke, and I'm really devastated about its presence on this kind of level in this wine. This is an absolute Oak Monster's paradise, which means that you may like it. I am not faulting anybody who adores the Oak Monster because I, at a younger age, was also seduced very easily. It sent the note, do you like me? And I said yes that time, not a maybe. And not anymore though. And so this wine is absolutely, positively bothersome, and I'm going to score this wine 84 points. It's not the lowest score in the book because there's a lot of nice things going on. The body weight and the structure, and really the completeness of the way this wine was made by itself deserves 83 points. I'll give it 1 point for the fruit. I mean, really, there's just way too much oak. Let me just really, because I really went on tangents, I want to make sure I'm super right. Yeah, I mean, there's a good amount of oak here. I mean, the fruit is a little fake as well. I mean, oh yeah, that's where it's coming through. It's that finish that really kicks in. Got a little scared there for a minute. I was like, it's not that much. Pass. P-A-Z. Z-Z-Z. Question of the day. Question of the day is very simple. It is going to be this. Did Hollywood impact you? Have you been a wine drinker long enough that prior to Sideways, were you a Merlot drinker and you stopped drinking Merlot? Tell me the truth. How has your Merlot consumption changed since the wonderful movie from Hollywood, Sideways, hit the scene? Because you, with a little bit of me, we are well on our way to changing the wine world.